Continuing with the 8th chapter of Many Waters. So, Sandy and Dennis are sort of speculating about, okay, this flood's going to happen, who's mentioned in the story in the Bible and who isn't. Yalla isn't mentioned. She's probably going to drown. That's not good. The best thing I can think of to do is continue to work in the garden, though, and that's where we find them. "It's good to be working in a garden," Sandy said, "even if it's not the garden at home." "Who do you suppose is tending the garden at home?" Dennis asked. "It's got to be at least harvest time by now. That is, if time there is passing like time here. Everything is different here," Sandy said. "People living longer, for instance. So maybe time is different too. At home we had alarm clocks and those electronic bells at school, and here time just slides by and I hardly even notice it." "I don't want to think about time," Sandy said. He looked at his twin. "We're browner than we ever got at home. Anna's right about that. And our hair is bleached. At least if mine is like yours it is." Sandy looked at his twin. "Well, your hair is a lot longer than it used to be. I wonder what it would feel like to wear clothes again." They were used to wearing loincloths. They were even used to no showers, no water for bathing. The smells of the tent were hardly noticeable. With a strong green vine, Sandy was tying up tall green-leaved bushes, giant versions of the basil they planted between the tomatoes in the garden at home. Grandfather Lamech often chopped off the leaves to season his stews. "I'm not homesick anymore. At least I'm not homesick." "I try not to think about it too often," Denny said, "except to remind myself that since I didn't die of sunstroke, then somehow or other we ought to be able to get home." "We won't be the same," Sandy said. Sandy made a face. "Hey, I don't like the way Tigla keeps coming around. I don't think I'm ready for Tigla." "Tigla," Denny said, "is what kids at school would call an easy lay." "Except," Sandy said, "there isn't anybody remotely like Tigla at school." "She's older." Still, neither of them mentioned Yalla. "Yeah," Sandy said. "The thing is," Denny's paused, "something's happened. We're not just kids anymore." "I know." Sandy bent over one of the plants. Denny's pulled up a resisting weed with such force that he sat down. "We haven't seen Admiral lately, or any of the other seraphim." Sandy finished tying the plant to a bamboo stalk. Images of scarab beetle and pelican, camel and lion flashed before him. He always felt better if Admiral was with them. When the seraph was in his scarab beetle form, he was usually near Grandfather Lamech's sleeping skins or on Higayon's ear. He gave Sandy a sense of security. "I think the seraphim like us." "But the others don't," Denny said. "I mean, the other ones, the Nephilim. I've seen them looking at us when they thought we weren't noticing. And a mosquito kept buzzing around me the other day, and Tigla had been around. And a mosquito kept buzzing around me the other day after Tigla had been around. I don't think it was just a mosquito." "Rofocale," Sandy said. "I heard her call one of the Nephilim Rofocale." "They don't like us," Denny said. When supplies were needed, the twins left Grandfather Lamech's and went to the nearby shops, carrying figs, dates, and produce of their garden to barter for rice or lentils. On the dusty path they passed many of the people of the oasis, who always paused to look up at Sandy and Dennis, surreptitiously if not openly. When they passed Nephilim, with whom they could look eye to eye, brilliant wings quivered. But the Nephilim did not acknowledge their presence except in sudden reversion to the animal host, so that a tall, bright-winged man would vanish and there would be a skink scuttling across the path, or a red ant or a slug leaving its slimy trail. The women, at least the young ones, let Sandy and Denny's know that they were admired. Small hands reached up to touch them. They were bathed in lavish smiles. Tigla seemed to know when they needed rice or beans or lentils, and would be waiting at whichever stall they were headed for. The men and the older women were different. Sometimes the twins were cursed at, spat at. They did not tell Grandfather Lamech, who would have been distressed. They learned to go to a few vendors who treated them kindly, and did not try to cheat. Denny said one day, "Hey, Sand, if you want to go for a walk with Tigla, don't let me stop you." "I don't want to." Sand turned his gaze from the side of the path where, where a vulture was picking the flesh from a small carcass. I mean, just because it was her father and brother that threw me into the garbage pit. I mean, I'm not stopping you or anything. No problem, Sandy agreed. They were careful with each other as they had never been careful before, and still they did not mention Yalla. Yalla and Oholibama were helping Matron to clean the big tent when they were disturbed by the flap being pushed open and a lavender-winged Nephil came in. He spoke without greeting. It is nearly Mala's time. She will need your help with birthing the baby. Matron held a broken palm branch which she was using as a broom. Do you not have one of your own kind to help? Ugwiel looked at Oholibama with hooded eyes, flicked a long finger in her direction. She will be one of us. And Mala will need her mother and her sister. Oholibama took a step away from the Nephil. How will we know when to come? Tonight, at the time of the moonrise, I, Ugwiel of the Nephilim, tell you so. We will come, Matron pronounced. I will not have my daughter labor alone. Good, I will expect you. We will come, Matron repeated, but you will wait outside. Ugwiel shrugged. Have it your own way. It is a woman's job to see all the blood and mess of the birth. He started out, then turned his burning gaze on Yalla. She did not drop her eyes. Biting her lower lip, she met his stare. You cannot have them both, you know, Ugwiel said. Then he was gone. Yalla and Oholibama spread skins over some low scrub palms. Some skins they would discard if they were too soiled. Others they would scrape and beat clean. What did he mean? Oholibama asked. Who? Ugwiel. About what? About not having them both. Yalla picked up a skin foul with spills, and put it in the dump pile. Who ever knows what a Nephil means? You do, and I do, Oholibama said. He meant our young twins. Yalla picked up another skin, appearing to examine it closely. The sand was the first one I met. The den is the one we saved from the sun death. And they are two people, not one, Oholibama reminded her. I know. Oh, yes, Oholi, I know that. They are very different when you get to know them. And you do not love one more than the other, Yalla shook her head. Anyhow, they are too young. Are they that young in their own time? We don't know anything about their own time. Oholibama sat on a stump, a pile of clean skins across her knee. I love my Japheth. I am very happy with him. I want you to be happy too. Yalla shivered. Mala seems to be happy, married to a Nephil. Our twins are not Nephilim. But they are different. They are not like us. And you love them, yes. You love them both. Yalla picked up a pile of skins to be discarded. I'm going to throw these away. Then we'd better stop. The sun's getting high and it's too hot for this kind of work. Matron said to Elishaba, You have not been to the woman's tent for 2 moons. Elishaba nodded, put her hands to flushed cheeks in an unworthy girlish gesture. Matron embraced her. Is it true? Yes, you will have yet another grandchild. Hugging each other, they danced with joy. Eblis, the dragon lizard, was waiting for Yalla when she went to the well for water. He was not in his animal host, but was leaning against the trunk of a royal palm, purple wings wrapped around him so that he was almost lost in shadows. When he stepped forward, Yalla was so startled that she almost dropped the clay pitcher which she carried on one shoulder. Eblis rescued the pitcher and put it down. Every day you grow lovelier. He touched her gently on one cheek. Yalla blushed and reached for the pitcher. Let me help you, Eblis said when the pitcher was full. He touched her again, tracing her brows with one pale finger. Ugwiel is right, you know. I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, yes, you do, my sweet one. Yes, you do, and I am the only answer to your problem. She looked at him questioningly. I want you, lovely little one. You know that I want you. I can give you all that Ugwiel gives your sister Mala, and you know how happy she is. I know. These stupid young giants who dazzle you with their youth can give you nothing except grief. You cannot choose between them, and if you should choose one, what would happen to the other? They have not asked me, she faltered. But I have. I do. I want you. He bent toward her, and suddenly she felt nothing but fear. It was as he said. He wanted her. He did not love her. She picked up the water pitcher and fled, heedless of the water splashing on the ground. And that is the end of chapter 8.